Oh. 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 Welcome to Meaningful Mornings. 60% of your resources should go to the individuality, 20% to your family, and 20% to your community, society, humanity. This is a functional system that reminds us, that encourages us to understand and appreciate when others are happy, this helps us to be happy too. When others are driving safely, you drive more safely too, more comfortably, correct? When others are healthy, that's less of a burden on a government then. Now, as we're aspiring to grow our personalities, there should be a shift in resources from the individuality, from the family, to one's community, society, humanity. And not just resources, but also everything we can give, which is also time and effort. Resources is dhan. Time is tan. Effort is man. When one flows through this growth, the growth of one's personality, that really is indicative of one evolving to oneness. If one is not giving more of themselves, then we're speaking a lot about oneness, but this is just a hypothesis. Meaningful Mornings is again to increase the expectations of ourselves and decrease the expectations of others. And you will know that you're doing this when you have less wants, when you become less needy, because you're experiencing your own prasada. In the ladder of fall, verses 62 and 63, Shri Krishna uses the term sam moha. Moha is to be confused. Sam moha is to be completely confused. The expression of this is when one mixes the means to be the ends. That is sam moha. That the means has become the ends. This is characterized by becoming worldly. When I share with all of you that one should not be worldly, we have this fantasy thinking that means you live in a different dimension. What this means is to not depend on the world for your completion. That's what it means to not be worldly. But if you're depending on the world for your completion, that is being worldly. And another term for this is samsara, that which is forever spinning. The world is changing, and if you're depending on the world for completion, you will only spin. And Shri Krishna completes this ladder of fall by using a strong term, pranashyati, which means one is annihilated. Not their bodies, but all they experience is the opposite of their nature. So all they experience is sadness, shoka. As we completed the ladder of fall, this comes across as being negative, as being hopeless. Please remember, in verse 61, which preceded this ladder of fall, Sri Krishna teaches us matparaha. Every facet of who we are should be directed towards the higher. That is Sri Krishna, that is infinity. And if one does do this, halfway through Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, verse 31, Sri Krishna reminds Prince Arjuna, Kaunteya, pratijanihi, name bhakta pranashyati, which in English means, he's reminding Prince Arjuna, I am openly declaring for the one who, matparaha, is directed towards me, my bhakta, my disciple, never is annihilated. So if you're feeling negative or hopeless about, am I going to go through this annihilation? If you are a disciple, one who is living by discipline, you will not be annihilated. You will experience not shoka, but ashoka. In verse 64, raga dvesha viyuktaistu. The one who is content, how do they walk? They walk free of raga and dvesha, which is likes and dislikes. The deeper import of this statement, they are free of vasanas. The one who is content is free of this sense of smallness. The more small-hearted one is, the more likes and dislikes they have. The more large-hearted, I'm including that person and that experience. They're not lost in labels of I like that person, I dislike that experience. Vishayan indriyaischcharan, as they're walking, their sense organs are engaging in the sense objects. The sense organs and the sense objects do not bind us, do not trap us. A sense object like a cupcake is inert. It doesn't know what it is. Even our sense organs, our mouths, they're inert. They don't know what a cupcake is, what a rock is. It is the likes and dislikes of the mind that bind us. And that's why I share, do not blame creation for being distracted. That is a forgetful way to live. It is our own personal minds. Atma vashehi, the one who's content, they're engaged in self or sense direction. The word vashehi, today, as I teach our grade 6 students in our camp, I'll be introducing Hanumanji. And Hanumanji has the Ashta Siddhi, which is the 8 phenomenal powers. And the last one is Vashitva, like Vashehi. Vashitva means to control. The only way to control another, the only way to control yourself is through love. When one loves, the higher, the lower is directed. Different terms I've used. If there's anurag or anuraga, what will that pull? Viraga, correct? In Satsang and Smile, I'd shared, if you really want to guide someone, You have to care about them. The more actively you listen and talk to someone, they will want to be controlled by you. Videyatma, such a dynamo, prasadam adhigacchati, they go to prasad. See, when I tell our 2-year-old and 4-year-old, go to prasad, they go to the place where we keep chocolate and granola bars. But how are we any different? My prasada is my paycheck. My prasada is how many people like me on social media. But for the one who's disciplined, they're experiencing prasada, but it's never external. It's never material. And that's why I reference for all of us who are involved in institutions, whether it's a mandir or a center, start to dismantle this idea that prasad is external and material. It is weakening that whole experience. Even in jnana yajnas, we tend to give prasad after. Whenever my say is acknowledged, we don't give any prasad. Why? The knowledge itself is what is needed. Why are you focusing on your wants? Same thought, next verse. 65. Prasade sarva dukkhanam hanir asyopajayate prasanna chetaso hyashu buddhi paryavatishtate. Prasada is used again. When one experiences this inner prasada, when one experiences their nature, sarva dukkhana, all limits in all ways are ended. Any and all limits are an experience of not ananda. Even sattva, this guna or quality that lifts us up, is still a limit. Because the implication is that I'm lower than my nature. So when one experiences one's nature, that full out is infinity. There is no sense of finitude. No vastness, correct? We are studying about the person who knows their vastness. Hanihi, all of this limits and vasanas, hanihi, this is destroyed. Asya upajayate, and this is all happening from within. In the ladder of fall, I kept on repeating the term that this causes this. This is born from this. Upajayate means to arise or to be born, but it's not coming from a limited structure. Our kids were born from a limited structure, Sheila and I. But this experience of one's nature, this is an invocation. This is already there. You're only invoking it. In Vedanta, we use words like realization, correct? It's already there. You have to realize this. The term that I'm most fond of, that is most reflective for me, this is a rediscovery. In a discovery, it's something that's not there. In a rediscovery, it's something that's there. I had just forgotten about it, and now I've remembered. Prasanna chetaso hyashu buddhihi pari avatishtate. Chetasa, their mind is prasanna, which means higher than likes and dislikes. Their buddhi pari avatishtate. It is deeper than the ego. Shared differently, the mind has become quiet, The intellect has become still. The sign of one who is walking and is silent, irrespective of environment. Their mind and intellect continues to be quiet and still. Right now, our minds are quiet, but even my own mind, as time runs out, is becoming agitated. What is to be remembered from verses 64 and 65 is to have a lifestyle of purification. These verses are about our role model. We have to model our role model as we walk, which means to interact, a lifestyle of purification. So the mind becomes quieter, the intellect becomes still. Our ego will become silent then. From inspiration to application, your application from yesterday was to continue to pretend like you actually engage in the applications that I share with you. How many of you did this? All of you did this. You had to continue with your sense direction sutras. For me again, verse 58, first sutra, pleasure is pain. Like a turtle withdraws its organs out of fear, we should direct our senses knowing that pleasure is pain. Verse 59, peace is perpetual. We are all investors. We want our investments to last forever. Only peace is forever. Verse 60, engage the mind. If you don't, the mind will make you succumb to likes and dislikes. Engage the mind. Imagine that rope is tied between your hands and your head. Verse 61. Offer the mind. Offer the mind. Offer the mind to your creator, to your original parent. Let he direct your senses, like when Sri Bharata takes Sri Rama's padukas back to Ayodhya, you control this kingdom. I will only do what you direct me to do. Verse 62, sleep before sleepy. Sleep before sleepy. We become most distracted when we're sleepy, correct? At night or in general. So sleep early is the point. And 63, wake before worldly. Wake before worldly. Wake early and be independent. Focus on reading, writing, reflecting, so that you exert your independence and don't become dependent. Your application for this morning is memorize your sutras or memorize my sutras. Shanti, shanti, shanti. Be safe, be sound, be serene, be happiness.